Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome back. I'm Gavin Weber and I'm the host of the show. This is Ask the Cheeseman, episode 306. Yes, we've been at it for a while. Lovely to see so many people in the chat. Welcome back to all those who have previously been here, and welcome to all the new curd nerds who are watching for the first time. You'll learn lots about cheese making. For those who have never seen it, the curd nerd light goes off when there's a super chat in the chat and you ask a question. So, and that's a priority, of course. There we go. Let's say g'day to a few people, of course, before we start. Let's have a look. We'll scroll right back. Hello to Shauna. Welcome, mate. 3D printing Viking. Welcome to you. Who else we got? We got Michael and Jenny. Welcome back. Great to see you starting cheese making today for the first time this year. I wish I could say the same because I haven't started my cheese making this year. I've taken the month of January off, and I'll start again next weekend, which will be fantastic. RTD Jazz, welcome to you. G'day Paul and Jeanette. And to Jeff and Zippy and Molly, Camera Punk, newbie, welcome. Who else? We've got Liz and Charlie, welcome to both of you. We've got Valerie and Kathy, Hartish, Bert, and Nina, and BMN. I think somebody's just mucking around with a keyboard there. Goodness me. Welcome to everybody. If I missed you, sorry, and welcome to the show. Of course, we couldn't go too far without saying thank you to all of the financial members. Thank you to all the YouTube members, latest ones, Pauline, Tom, D-Wraith23, Adam, Paul, and Matt. Thank you very much for signing up and becoming a financial member of the show. Also, not forgetting, of course, all of the patrons. Thank you to all of the patrons who support the show on a monthly basis. It keeps the show going. It really does. So thank you so much. Bert's feel special. Welcome, Bert. There we go. Just for you. Yes, you are special. What am I going to say? Right, so at 30 minutes past the hour, there is the gallery. And the gallery is a showcase of all of the cheese-making photos that I've received from curd nerds during the week. And there are quite a few today, which is really good. Good to see a nice beefed up gallery, so very happy with that. And as far as cheeses that I'm going to make, let me just bring that up. Let's quick have a look, see what I've got on my production list for this year so far. Can I show this? Here we are. Yep, there we go. Rightio. So this is my Trello workspace where I manage the production of all the cheeses. Just having a look at Hankays, it's still maturing. For a little cheese, it takes quite a while to mature, so we'll be showing that one soon. And I'm thinking in this order, I did a bit of a shuffle of videos the other day to figure out which ones I'm going to make. So Baby Swiss is the first one that I'm going to give a go and see how that goes. Dry Jack is the next one. Goat's cheddar. I found a good source of goat's milk. And Comté is the next one I'm going to do after that. And then we've got some other ones here on the list as well. Triple Udder Blue, Blue de Buffalo, Colonia and Reblochon and Ebors. They're ones I've all got recipes for. Ones that I'm looking for recipes and I'm still umming and ahhing about. We've got Imaruli, which is a Georgian cheese. We've got Burrata, Epois, and, well, I don't know if it's still on the cards, but Zombie Apocalypse cheese making down here. So, they're all the cheeses. And what about the ones that I've made already? Goodness me, look at this list. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Look how many that I produced just using this list. So, yeah, it seems to work all right. My production schedule, like I said, I won't be doing any YouTube shorts this year. I think I said that last episode. So no YouTube shorts this year because they're just a distraction as far as I'm concerned. I didn't see any improvement in the channel's statistics via analytics or anything like that, but I would definitely be making quite a few long form videos. So yeah, watch out for those during the year. They will be coming to you very soon. Okay. Liz says her camemberts are on the go this morning. It's a beautiful morning in North Otago in New Zealand. Looking forward to the chat as always. Thank you, Liz. And Molly is just finishing a kefili in the press. I'm making another one of my cayenne pepper kefili cheeses. That'll be pretty spicy there, Molly, I think. Someone else was starting up their cheese making this year. Who's that? Michael and Jenny are making their first Castle Blue. That's their first cheese this year, so congratulations. I think somebody else said they were making... Shauna is doing cheese today as well. Sunday is cheese day. Very good. Or Saturday, wherever you are. And Shauna is making a smoky paprika kefili, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, we do have some questions. Here's a statement from Persnickety, and welcome. Haven't made cheese since August. Cheese was too full. Sold some today, so next month will be cheesy. Indeed. I think everybody needs a break, from cheese making occasionally. And, where the opportunity, if you've got your own house cow, then the opportunities are only a few months a year, depending on whether you have a calf or not to bring the milk on again. But yeah, you can certainly dry out your animal and have a bit of a break if you want. Okay. Now, Kathy says, why did my brie smell like ammonia? I had to throw it out. Okay, so part of the ripening process of white mold cheeses is the production of ammonia. It happens as the Penicillium candidum breaks down the proteins in the cheese. So, to avoid brie smelling like ammonia, it must be well ventilated. Now, in a ripening box, it's a little bit difficult, of course, but you need to check it at least a couple of times a week. And make sure that you wipe out the ripening box, get rid of any moisture in the bottom that builds up, which also contains ammonia. Wipe down the sides of it, give it a spray with vinegar, and then put in a fresh damp cloth underneath the mat just to keep the humidity up. And that will prevent ammonia from building up and building up in the cheese itself. That's the best way to do it, Kathy. Hope that helps, mate. Where are we? Bert says, I haven't made cheese. Thinking about giving it a try. Please do, Bert. And report back, of course. There you go. Herb, welcome back, mate. Greetings, Curd Nerds, and Curd Nerds, greetings to you. Right. Luna says, hi, I just wanted to write that you inspired me with your videos to start my adventure with cheese. You are wonderful. Thank you so much, Luna. I appreciate it. You made me blush now, this old bloke. Goodness me. I feel like the grandpa of cheese, There's the white beard and the white hair. Silver fox coming on. See? With silver going on. Very nice. Grandpa. Persnickety doing the hard sell for me. Thanks, mate. Says if you get a chance, get his physical books, not e-books. They are binders, so they lay flat. Super useful. Thank you, Persnickety, for that plug. And yeah, you can pick those. You can pick those books up, the spiral bound ones. There's only one place, and that's littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Yeah, there's another little sneaky plug there. Levi says, this week I've made Havarti dill, Emmental, marinated feta, and Asiago papato. Looking forward to the EDB, what's that? Results. The final results, maybe? Well done, Levi. That's a lot of cheese this week, so hopefully you had a week off or something. But that, yeah, fantastic effort. Monica says, can I use less salt in recipes? I find most too salty. Can you? No. Well, salt has to be there. Look, let's be honest. Cheese making only works because of salt. Salt inhibits the growth of lactic bacteria as the cheese ages, or slows down or dampens the activity of the conversion from lactose to lactic acid. That's what the lactic bacteria do. So the recommended amount of salt, if it's just a little bit, you can ease off. I wouldn't ease it off more than, 10%. If you go too much farther, you're going to get a bitter cheese. And, having a cheese that you can't eat because it's too bitter, or a cheese that's slightly saltier than you expect, I know which one I'd rather go for. And when you use it in cooking, then you're going to find that most of the salt goes away anyway. So as you melt the cheese. So sorry, Monica, the cheese is absolutely necessary. Levi said I had a week off. That's why he made so many cheeses. Well done. Paul has a question. Hi, Gavin. I tried your stout cheddar recipe a few days ago, except using homemade hard apple cider. The cheese was not knitting very well and was dry and cold. Is it the cider? I hope it works out. Yeah, possibly. When I made the stout cheddar, Paul, I let it come up to room temperature. If it was straight out of the fridge, which, it's cold in the Northern Hemisphere there at the moment, or it's sitting on the shelf, then it may have been too cold. So what I tend to do now when I do any alcohol-infused cheeses, I warm up the stuff I put in it. So the liquid, I warm that up to the same temperature as what the curds are. And with stout, I think it's the final temperature is about 36 degrees Celsius, if I remember rightly, the curds are, before pressing. And Paul he said, I did heat it up to almost 100 Fahrenheit, which is 38 Celsius. Well, that should have been all right, Paul. Now we think about that. I don't think there should have been too many issues. Maybe the curds were too dry to start with. That's the only thing I can think of. But if the your cider was warm when you added it to the curds, then you shouldn't have any issues with it knitting unless there's not enough moisture in the curds to begin with. So that's what I'm thinking there. Robin says, and welcome back, Robin. G'day, Curtains. Looking forward to starting making some cheese again next week after a long cheese making break. Suggestions on type, please. Not French. I get the real stuff for free. Suggestions. Robin, if you haven't made the smoky smoked paprika kefili, I think you're in for a treat. Another one somebody was making this week was the triple cream, but mind you, that's French. You can get that. So the smoky paprika kefili, give that a go. Or even, what's another one of my favourite? The Stilton that I made. You know, Kim and I devoured that over the summer because I had vacuum packed half of it once it was mature. I only vacuum pack blue cheeses once they're mature, of course. And cracked it open to have the little bit of cheeses on the cheese platter for Christmas Day. And then after that, we didn't re-vacuum pack it because we thought, it was just too good. And it was absolutely delicious. It had started to break down in the vacuum packing from the firmer sort of Stilton that you would normally get into more of a Gorgonzola Dolce. And my goodness, it was just absolutely fantastic. Rich, creamy, a lovely blue flavour. And yeah, give Stilton a go. I really do think it's worth it. It's worth the effort. It really is. Persnickety has some comments around the alcohol thing. It says, through my experience, alcohol really dries out the curd, making it rather crumbly. Beer Jack held up well, but not the Red Windsor. Yeah, I had issues with the Red Windsor as well. Although it looked like a fantastic cheese, the texture in the mouth was not very good. Some people have repeated the Red Windsor, and they made the curd chunks a lot bigger, so very similar to using the stout cheddar recipe, and then soak that in wine, and that seemed to work a lot better. Okay. Herb said that the cheese that he made with dark beer was a bit crumbly, but was great. Yeah, indeed. And Don Mega says, any thoughts about making a cayenne manchego one day? Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think the best way to do that would be make the manchego, or if you're using cow's milk, I think the recipe is Ibor's cheese, and just as you oil that outside of that cheese, rub cayenne pepper onto the outside, but it's very spicy. So yeah, you won't get that much of the spiciness into the cheese itself unless you you distribute cayenne pepper through the mix that with the curds before you press it. But I think a rub on the outside will be nice, and then you get a nice sort of mild bite to the rind of the cheese. However, a lot of manchego style, you get a manchego from Spain, the one with made from manchego sheep, and you find that most of the packets say cut the rind off because they're coated in a paracoat, which is like a PVC coating that is inedible, and it's very hard to get off because the manchego mold that they use is ridged and has a lot of indentations, and the paracoat gets stuck in it. So on most packets it says cut the rind off anyway. So if you're making your own manchego, yeah, definitely you could rub cayenne pepper on the outside with some olive oil, and not only would that help make the rind go a bit firmer, you'll get a nice flavour to it. Okay. Kathy says, I ate my Merlot cheddar today with friends. Smooth and creamy, great flavour, but it looks like ground beef. Very nice. Well done, congratulations. Persnickety says, I hope you and Kim are feeling better. You do sound a bit rough. Yeah, I do, don't I? I've been feeling a bit down this week. Just health-wise, nothing. We don't have any diseases that I know of. It's just I've got a bit of a sore throat. But anyway, thanks, Persnickety, for picking that up. Okay, next question. Robin says, thanks, I'm going for the smoky paprika kefili. Indeed. It's just fabulous. And for those who have never seen the recipe for that, let me just bring it up for you. Where are we, Gav? Let's go to the channel and search for it, and I can give you the recipe. Alrighty. Here it is. Smoky paprika kefili. That's the one. That's what it looks like. There's the thumbnail anyway. Let's just grab the link and pop that into the chat, shall we? There we go. So anybody who's never made smoky paprika kefili, go and check that out. It's a great cheese, really is. Okay. Liz says, keep lubricating your throat with the coffee. All right, here we go. Shameless merch plug. Thank you, Liz. Alrighty. Alright, here is the real question. What's the best cheese? Well, BMN. The best cheese. Well, that's all personal taste, isn't it? So there is no such thing as the best cheese. I think all cheeses had their own merit. And in fact, I love all the cheeses. That's why I make cheese, and I make different cheeses, because they're all so different, and they're all amazing in their own little way. So, Persnickety says, the Red Windsor looks like hash and tastes like port. Nothing gets cooked off. Yeah, indeed. And I found that who gave me the suggestion? I think it was Shauna. Mentioned that she turned her Red Windsor, the very first one, into an American cheese and melted. I think that was Shauna. Anyway, it was. I did the same thing, and it mellowed right out, and the texture didn't matter because the cheese just melted and was gooey, and it had a little bit of a port flavour. I put a little bit more salt in it as well, and yeah, we got these silicon moulds in Little Green Workshops in our store for soap making. So I got a fresh one, washed it out, and sanitized it, and yeah, perfect little rectangle blocks of American cheese. It was really nice. So that's what you can do with a failure. And go and look up how I made American cheese with Larry over on the channel, and you'll see that you can make any failure. You know, it's a subjective term, of course, but you can turn any failure into a decent sort of cheese, a little bit of salt and a little bit of sodium citrate, which makes your cheese all melty. RTD Jazz says, any luck with freezing yogurt in ice cubes and using them for thermophilic culture? Work with buttermilk when I needed a mesophilic culture. Yes, it would work. People have been freezing mother cultures into ice cubes for years. In fact, you really can't buy too many sachets of mother culture anymore, which you have to add to milk and then make them into, it's kind of like a very runny yogurt, and then you freeze the ice cubes and then add them to milk. Yeah, you can do that if you want, RTD Jazz. Valerie has a question and says, trying to use regular store-bought milk lately, but curd always looks shattered at first stir. Should I be doing something special with homogenized milk, and can I use ultra-pasteurized cream in it? Valerie, great question. So store-bought milk depends. If you're using homogenized, then the curd set will be lousy because the fat has been broken up into a lot smaller particles than cow's milk is used to. That's why it doesn't float to the top, which is absolutely why I would not use pasteurized, homogenized milk if you can avoid it. If you can get pasteurized, unhomogenized, which is creamline milk, where the fat globules are intact, you'll get a far superior curd set. And even raw milk, if you use it raw, then yeah, look, I don't particularly like using raw milk because if I make it, then beginners will start using it. And as a beginner, they don't know the I suppose the rules. Yeah, the rules for sanitisation and stuff like that. Making sure that the milk is in pristine condition and hasn't been infected with, things like feces from the cow or anything like that. And some raw milks, dairies, they're not tested. A lot of them are, but you really have to use raw milk within the same day that it's been, milked, to get the best value out of it and not have any infections and stuff. And when you add a little bit more starter culture, that competes with the bad bacteria that's in the milk and, kills it off and all that sort of stuff. So if you can get pasteurised, unhomogenised milk, or you can get raw milk and home pasteurise it, then you'll get a far better curd set. Ultra pasteurised cream, I wouldn't add it. Sometimes it will work if the milk is really good. But yeah, the proteins have been denatured because ultra pasteurisation is heated to such a high temperature, and especially if it's got any additives like carrageenan gum or gelatin or something like that to thicken it, that destroys a good curd set as well, unfortunately. So using pure cream, if you can get it, is the best, absolute best thing you can add to your good source of milk. I know, sorry, that was a long-winded answer, but I had to get that off my chest. But Valerie, I hope you can find a really good source of milk where you live, and cream. Shauna says, yes, it was me, and the American cheese made with the red Windsor was divine, indeed. Mine was too, Shauna. Thank you so much for that recommendation. Liz says, or you could turn the failed cheese into fromage fort, the best dip in the world. Indeed, I tell you what, we cracked through the 2 jars that I made of the fromage fort, Liz, just on toast, So for breakfast, fromage fort is strong as anything, hence the word fort, which means strong in French. And it was delicious. Really great cheese spread for fromage fort. And there's a recipe on the channel, of course. Shauna says, question, I've made a couple more American cheeses with failures. Can you put American cheese in the cheese cave? Left the last couple in the normal fridge and had to give to the chooks. Very mouldy. Is there a follow-up to that? So, can you put American cheese in the cheese cave? Well, as you know, Sean, American cheese is already made with matured cheese, so I probably wouldn't do anything. I don't know if the sodium citrate helps it to mature, and I don't think it does. Because if you look at things like Kraft singles and Kraft processed cheese, which all have sodium citrate in them, they don't mature. Doesn't matter where you put them. You said you left the last couple in the normal fridge and had to give them the chooks. Well, you could have vacuum packed them if you made enough of it. Yeah, they will go mouldy, just like normal cheese does in the fridge if you haven't got it wrapped up properly. So that's all I can say about that, I suppose. Valerie says, I usually have raw, but my cow is on break. That is a shame, which is probably why you're having issues with the milk that you're getting if you're so used to using raw milk, which is just a fantastic product. Nina says, I always use pasteurized homogenized and don't have any problems. My non-homogenized is too expensive where I live. And that is a good statement, Nina, because when I first started off, I did use pasteurised homogenised milk, and then I noticed over the years the structure of the curds that I was getting worse and worse. So whether they started to the milk that I was getting was starting to become pasteurised at a higher temperature, that could have been part of the issue as well. Or there was a new homogenization process, which could have broken up the fat globules even further. But yeah, look, I do agree with a decent pasteurized homogenized milk, you can make cheese as long as you add calcium chloride to restore the calcium back in. That's nothing to do with homogenization process. It's more to do with the pasteurization process, which is heat treating the milk. So if you can get a decent pasteurized homogenized milk that hasn't been heat treated too high and the fat globules haven't been destroyed into micron size, then yeah, you shouldn't have too many problems. Okay, there's a few more questions, but what I'm going to do now, and it's 30 minutes past the hour, it's time for the gallery. So let me just cue that up. Okay. Yeah, so the gallery is brought to you by you. After the gallery's finished, I'll show you how to send in photos to me so I can show them in the Ask the Cheeseman sessions. But let's go to the second monitor. And the first cheese today is from... what the heck is it? Is from Aaron. Thank you, Aaron McRae, for sending these in. It says, hey, Gavin, I hope to make it on the live stream this week because I've missed my last few. My Saturdays have been jam-packed so far this year. Here are a few gallery picks. First is your petite chili brie. Curd nerd, here's a statement to all you peoples. Curd nerds, if you haven't made this cheese, put it on your to-do list. It may be my favourite cheese I've ever made. It is creamy, buttery, and has a slight kick to it. The stabilised paste did not take away from the cheese being creamy as I thought it might. Gavin, well done on this recipe. I'll be making it again soon. I think there's another picture, a close-up. There we go. There it is. And that is a good-looking cheese, Aaron. Lovely white coating. The stabilised paste is surprisingly good. So I do agree with Aaron. If you haven't made the petite chili brie yet, and you're into white mold cheeses, and you're into a little bit of chili, then give it a go, because it's fun to make, and it tastes amazing as well. Okay, the next cheese, this is also from Aaron. It says, the next is your Castle Blue. It is about 6 weeks into aging and looks great so far. I'm getting a little white mold and an orange tint. Is the humidity too high? It's been around 85 to 90%. I plan to make a smaller one in about a week and can't wait. To be honest, I've not had a lot of blue cheeses in my life, so I'm looking to branch out. Yeah, look, that white is just geo, and that's probably in your environment. I don't think it's too bad. You've got a decent blue coating, and I dare say you've got some great vein development in the middle, if the rind looks like that. But yeah, just brush it off if you need to. I don't think it... orange? I think it's just breaking down of the blue of the Penicillium roque 40. It tends to go a little bit of an orange colour. I don't think it's Brevibacterial linens, Aaron, by the look of the photo. Yeah, I think they'll be perfect. They'll be fine. And Aaron goes on to say, thanks so much for these tutorials and all you do for us home cheesemakers, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for the photos. They are great. All right, the next one. Oh, and that's another one from Aaron. Sorry, different angle. But yeah, no, that looks fine. I've seen worse. Charlie has sent in some photos. Says, Charlie, hi, Gavin. I recently made your chili halloumi, and they turned out great. Just the right amount of heat, and they fried up perfectly. Didn't last long, though. We polished them off in no time. Cheers, Charlie. And that's a great-looking slab of halloumi. And they're the fried ones. That's the icing on the cake. Proof is in the pudding, all that sort of stuff. Great looking. I love the chili halloumi. It just tastes amazing. So if you haven't made it before, then yeah, you should give it a go. Chili halloumi is the shiz. Not to be confused with shiz, the cheese. But yeah, a very nice cheese. Thank you, Charlie, for sending in those photos. They're amazing. The next one is from John Miller Sr. says, "Hey Gavin, I have a Grana Padano, oh, the cheese that cannot be mentioned, that I have aged for a little over 3 years. 3 years, my goodness! And I just opened, and there are some brown spots on it. And when I cut it open, there are some very light brown streaks. I'll have a look at that in a second. And it's kind of tangy yet sweet. Do you think it's okay to eat?" And as always, thanks for your videos. You have inspired me to make cheeses since you came out with your Petite Blue, which is my favourite. Okay, let's get in there. It's slightly crumbly by the looks of it. I don't think it's late blown. It looks like mechanical holes, so it might not have been pressed hard enough. The brown spots, look, they're just normal, honestly. When it comes to Cheeseman, you look at some cheeses like Gruyere and stuff like that, they have a natural rind in them. The brown spots start, and then they're all over the cheese, and that's what the actual rind is. So I wouldn't be so worried about these brown spots. They're nothing to be worried about, as long as it's cleaned, which your cheese looks fine. Tangy, yeah, could be too much acid development, not enough salt maybe, can cause a tanginess. It certainly looks crumbly like a good Grana Padano should be. But yeah, I don't think there's too many issues. So, no, I think that looks fine, John. Is there another picture? Let's have a look. No, this is a different cheese you've made. All right, so moving right along. This is John's second photo. It says, "This is a farmhouse cheddar with some additions. There's 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 tablespoons, goodness me, and 1 teaspoon of each garlic, cumin, and onion powder, and I'm calling it a farmhouse cheddar taco cheese, but I'm open to suggestions, and it's a new favourite. I added the spice to the curds before I put it into the basket for pressing." That is a good idea. Looks fairly crumbly because I think a lot of those spices would have increased the acidity. But it's a great looking cheese, and I bet the flavour is amazing. And yeah, no blowing or anything like that. It's a good looking cheese. Well done, John. Congratulations on your cheesy creations. And John goes on to say, "Blessings to you and your family, John Miller." Thank you, John Senior. Now, Monty is the next one. Monty has an amazing looking Cambanzola, but before I do that, what I should do is show, Monty sent in a little video, so let's just cut over to that. There he is. That's Monty and his cheese. This is the Cam Blue or Cambanzola that you saw a second ago. Hopefully I've lined it up okay, and he's going to cut it in a second. Nice sharp knife, straight through the middle. The cheese looks rather large, actually. Bigger than what a camembert normally is, unless that's just the perspective of the video. But that is a great looking... Anyway, back to that. That's the cheese. So this... Monty goes on to say... He says, "Here is my Cambanzola, Cam Blue, inspired by Marianne from Give Cheese a Chance YouTube channel. I've seen Marianne's recipe used quite a few times, and I must say it is very impressive the way she does it to get the blue into the middle of the cheese, and also having a lovely white mold coating on the outside. So well done to Marianne for producing that recipe, and well done to Monty making a cheese like this. So Monty goes on to say, "I basically followed her recipe but cut it down to 5 litres of milk, left out the whipping cream, and did not use Leuconostoc mesenteroids, which is an optional ingredient, which makes it a little bit creamier too. I also followed her timeline exactly as when to pierce the cheese and to inoculate the 2 white moulds on the outside of the cheese. It came out beautifully. The paste is nice and soft, as a camembert should be, with a background of blue cheese flavour. The cheese also developed a very nice rind with no slippage. the cheese was made 36 days ago. That is absolutely fantastic. So in just over 4 weeks, you can have an amazing looking cheese like this one. Monty's got another photo here, I think. Oh, there it is, sliced. And it looks like it's warmed up to room temperature, so it's starting to go a little bit gooey as well. So that's a great looking cheese. Well done, Monty. This is another photo from Monty saying, this past week I made a cheese and desist based on you telling me it was better than Manchego in the YouTube comments. Yes, I did that. I did change it a bit. I used whole milk, not skim milk. And I think my max temperature during heating was 55 Celsius, not 56. That won't make too much of a difference. The fat content will, though, and I'll tell you why in a minute. When flipping it today, drying for 2 to 3 days, a small piece came off and I tasted it. Surprisingly, it already has a Parmesan type taste. Or possibly I just imagined it. Once a nice rind has formed, I'll probably vacuum pack it, ? I'll age it for a year and see how it turns out. Monty, I think that what you've created there is probably not a Manchego if you didn't use some skim milk. However, I think Manchego, the normal sheep's version, has full cream sheep's milk, so it probably won't be too much difference. It's only when you're making a grainy or a grana sort of cheese, like a Parmesan or a Grana Padano style, that you use semi-skim milk. You don't actually use skim milk. So skim milk has only 0.1% fat in it, whereas semi-skimmed has about 2% fat in it. So I think your cheese is probably going to taste more like, say, a Vaccino Romano, which is cow's milk Romano, which is fine because I've made them before and they taste absolutely amazing. And they will develop some sort of piquant flavour like a Parmesan has. So I think it'll turn out fine. And yeah, so after you've let the rind go a bit firm, then it is probably best to vacuum pack it so you don't have too much more moisture loss, especially with a smaller cheese. So yeah, and when I say small, using 10 litres of milk or below is a smaller sort of cheese. Okay, the next photo, that's Monty's cheese, and you can see the little, just there's the chunk that came out of it that he tasted. But yeah, I think the rind will be fine as well. The next one is from Steve Chadbond, sent through heaps of photos. Rightio. So, what's this? Let's have a look. It says, hi Gavin, firstly I must thank you for your fantastic YouTube channel, as you inspired me to finally make cheese, something I intended to do for years but never got around to it. Thank you, Steve, and I'm glad you took the first step. It says, here are a few photos of my Parmesan. He's saying, shush, don't tell the Italians. It was one of the first cheeses I made, and the cheese was split in two. The first photo is of half that we tried after 12 months. It was good, but not quite as strong as it should have been. And we resealed it, or I thought so. The seal failed, but I didn't notice. Just opened it after 4 years of maturation, and although the seal had failed, this allowed the cheese to dry out further and harden more, and it's like a genuine Parmigiano. Hard, crumbly, very strong. In fact, it tastes amazing and has now been packed into smaller portions. Is there another photo on that? There it is. So that is a good-looking, crumbly Parmigiano. I won't say it. It's Parmesan. It's just Parmesan, okay? No, good-looking cheese. Well done, Steve. Is there another photo? He's made a second Parmesan by the looks of it. Yeah. Okay, so 2023. Oh, yeah, 4 years ago. No, that is the one. Alrighty. And there it is there. You can see how grainy it is. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so also from Steve, it says, where is it? First, this is my Sage Derby that I made last November. I opened it because we were running short of cheese. Had a lazy few months. Sadly, it needs to mature more. I think there's another picture of it. There it is. Yeah, so Sage Derby does need at least 4 or 5 months, probably 6, because it's like a cheddar style, right? So it kind of needs to get that maturation. I think the photo's upside down. Let's fix it. There we go. That's a bit better. Yeah, so that's a good. It'll be a bit crumbly because of the sage, but the sage does add a lovely flavour. But like I said, at least 4 to 5, maybe even 6 months before you get a decent flavour out of it. Steve has also cloth banded a Lancashire. I cloth banded this using a sterile stretch cotton medical bandage that I bought from Amazon and coated it with butter. It looks like I'll be able to do 2 cheeses per roll, and it was only £6.99 for 12 rolls. Saves using cheesecloth. Yeah, I think as long as the elastic doesn't break down over time, which sadly it does, maybe test the first one before you go all out. This is the cotton bandage roll thing, which are sterile, so that's a good thing. But yeah, he's given me the link to the product, but I won't show that here because I'm not gonna promote Amazon products and stuff. But yeah, it's a bandage cheese, like with a bandage. Yeah, exactly. Herb, as you just said there. But yeah, good looking cheese. But yeah, start off. I would just a word of caution. I would just do this one to start with, mature it out, and see what happens to the elastic in the bandage. Because there is some elastic in there, that's why it's a stretch bandage, and hopefully that won't break down. Okay, yeah. So go with that, Steve. And Steve goes on to say, "How is Kim, by the way? Hope all is good." Steve Chadbon from Lancashire in England. Hopefully I said that right, mate. Oh no, he's Lancashire. Yeah, Lancashire. Alrighty, so I think that's all of Steve's pictures. Yeah, that's it. That's the gallery, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you everybody who sent in photos for the gallery. Appreciate it. Now, if you want to send in photos, and I highly encourage you to do so, because it's amazing to share all of your photos with all the other curd nerds, because it gives them inspiration to make cheeses themselves, as well as me. It gives me inspiration to go and make some cheese. And that's what you're here for, of course. All right, so how do you do it? I better be quiet. Right, so you go to the channel page to find the email address, and you go where it says here, do you want to become a curd nerd? Of course you do. You click on that, and this pops up. And down here it says view email address. And you click on that. You've got to be logged in to your whatever you log into YouTube with. And the address will pop up. Use that email address to send through all of your photos. And I will gratefully accept them. And I batch process them on Saturday night. So if you don't hear a reply for about a week, that's fine. You will get a reply to your email. And I'll tell you when they'll be shown on the channel and which live stream they will be in. So there you go. Once again, thank you to everybody who sent in photos. All your cheeses looked amazing. So, alrighty, got a lot of stuff going on in the chat. I don't know what the heck is going on. We've got a couple of latecomers there. Cool Cat, a regular, a little bit late, but welcome. And, Titus as well. Welcome as well. Now, we've got some commentary going on. There is a question from Paul. Here it is here. It says, Gavin, I've been watching my farmhouse blue and have been able to get most of the mould off so far. I'm in month 2, so should I just keep going? Vacuum pack only if I can't stay ahead of it? Yes. So, keep brushing off the mould when it pops up. And because the cheese itself should be fairly dry, Paul, as you probably expect, because it's a cheddar style with a slight infusion of blue. Keep brushing it off. If you're finding the rind is getting too dry, then yeah, definitely vacuum pack if you can. If you find the rind is drying out way too much, and you'll if you think that the cheese is going to be dry inside, then yeah, vacuum pack it. Because if the blue mold should have done its thing within at least the first 6 weeks, so that you shouldn't have too many problems there. But great question, thanks, Paul. Persnickety says, with homogenized calcium chloride freeze up calcium ions, which helps with curd setting. It's more pasteurization. Liz says, I was going to give fromage fort for Christmas gifts, but once I tasted it, it wasn't going anywhere. Oh, nice. Yes, it was lovely. Is there another question here somewhere? I'm sure there is. Liz says that the gallery always makes me so hungry. Me too. I haven't had breakfast yet. Sunday mornings I hang off until after the show. But yeah, I get so cheesy hungry. Very nice. Everybody's talking about the price of milk. It's better than talking about the weather. That's for sure. Buku says hello from Sweden. Is that a country? Sweden, I think it is. Welcome to the show. Herb says, the farm I get raw milk from delivers in a van to Houston every other week from Schulenburg, which must be somewhere in Texas, I think. Very nice that you can get that sort of delivery. Good on you, Herb. Next question is from... There isn't one. Sandra, hello. Good morning. Just made it to the gallery. Lots of storms during the night. That's sad to hear. Hopefully no damage where you are. What time is it? It's 8:52 my time. Herb says cheese jokes are an integral part of curd nerdery. Nerdity? It's like nudity. Different. I do have a cheese joke for you, Herb. Because, right, this is one of my favourites. I'm using the... Where is it? I'm using the really immature cheesy jokes that I picked up at the post office. I don't know why they were at the post office. It was just fortuitous that I was doing a post run to send out orders to all of the curd nerds. And it was just there, $5. And I thought, I've got to get it. I've got to share it with the curd nerds, yeah? Right, so here's the cheesy joke of the day. What is cheese without a cracker? Some of you have heard this before. It's crack-a-lackin'. Nice. I like it a lot. All right, here's probably the corniest cheese joke we've got. How did the cheese get on the handkerchief? I blew my nose. Oh my goodness. All right, can we get a rim shot there? All right, I'm sure we can. There we go. All right, corny jokes. Yes, they are corny. That's enough jokes for today. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to pop them into the chat. We've got a few minutes, and I can answer them for you to the best of my ability. I've actually been reading further. It takes me a while to read a book, of course, and this is not a plug or anything. But Lisa Peterson has released a really good book. So Confident Cheese Making. There's a few recipes I haven't heard of before, but there are quite a few in there. But the main crux of the book is around sanitization, the equipment, all the beginners stuff is at the front of the book. So where does the recipe start? I'll show you how many recipes. Right, so yeah, right. So as far as recipes, so that part of the book, I'm trying to get the thickness, show the thickness. That part of the book is all the basics of cheese making, and then that part of the book is mostly recipes. So there is a lot about sanitization. She's had a lot of research gone into this book. Really good. So if you can pick up Lisa's Confident Cheese Making and haven't done so already, I think it's only available on Amazon. It's an Amazon self-published print-on-demand book, and it's well, I think it's value for money. To get it to Australia, it cost me $69 Australian, but I'm very sure that it's a lot cheaper in North America. So if you're in Canada or the US, you can get a lot cheaper than what we can here in Australia or New Zealand. Paul has done a super chat. Thank you, Paul. It says last minute super chat. Thanks for all you do. I really appreciate it. $25. That's amazing. Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate it. And thank you for that. I know you haven't done it yet, but that big book order that you're going to do is really going to help us here around Little Green Workshops. So thanks, mate. Really appreciate it. Liz says, I have to leave a little bit early. Stay cool, cheese bags. Thanks for the chat, questions, answers, and the gallery photos. Thank you, Liz. I have to leave in a second as well because I've got to go do one. It's been raining a lot here. I'll just say that. And I have to mow my lawn. I don't want to be the shamer of the neighbourhood. There we go. So, there is a question. I'll get this one here. Wooden shelves for cheese storage, thoughts, oak or teak? Traditionally, Mayor McCheese, they use pine, would you believe? In a lot of the cheese affinage, the natural ones, they just use pine boards. Untreated, of course. So, Jeff says, I believe you mentioned you are starting face-to-face cheese classes again. Is this true? And if so, when? We're looking at second term, Jeff, and we're teeing up with the Melton South Community Centre, who have a kitchen facility there that's been licensed. And yeah, I am thinking that in second term we'll have some cheese classes face to face. Hopefully they won't get cancelled like all the other ones that I used to do. I'd have a minimum number, so I'd have max of 4 and a minimum of 3, because it's just not worth my time if I've only got like 2 students. So yeah, we'll look out for that. I will make an announcement in the Curd Nerd newsletter, and if you haven't signed up to the Curd Nerd newsletter, then I highly encourage you to do so. There's lots of news, behind the scenes, all that sort of stuff. I'll show you where you can sign up to it. Let me just get the link. Copy this link, Gav, and pop it in here. So the Curd Nerd newsletter, it's free once a week. I haven't done it for a month because, been on a break. But if you want to see what it looks like, that's it. Curd Nerd newsletter. And here are all the back issues, which you can go and check out. I put the link into the chat. And yeah, so there's lots of back issues there you can read. And there's 1,948 people subscribed to the newsletter. And just put your first name, surname, and address in there. And Bob's your uncle. You'll get one of those once a week for free. I love free. Free's good. Alrighty, that'll do for today. Thank you so much to everybody who joined me on the chat. Thanks, Paul, for the super chat. And thank you to all of the Curd Nerds who are in the Curd Nerd community. It is just so much fun to present to you the Ask the Cheese Man every week. It is just great fun. And I wouldn't miss it for the world, unless I'm sick. It doesn't happen very often. But yeah, I'm here just about every single week. So far, what are we? 4 for 4 this year. So we're doing well. Anyway, thanks, Curd Nerds. If you want to pick up any cheese making supplies, don't forget you can pick them up at littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Got most cheese making supplies that people need, including kits, equipment, and cultures and stuff like that. And if you want to learn how to make cheese and you haven't made cheese before, You could do no worse than popping over to courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au. I've got the beginner's cheese making course there, and you can learn how to make 9 cheeses at home with... It's like my books, but in video form, if that makes sense. So I do lots and lots of lessons. There are lots of modules with lots of video lessons in there. So go and check out the Curd Nerd Academy at courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Anyway, that's enough of me plugging stuff. Thank you, everybody. We will be here, same channel, same place, same time next week. Until then, I will see you, and stay cheesy, stay fresh, cheese bags. See you later. Bye-bye.